Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren. I'm a psychic development coach, and today we are talking about psychic attacks and whether or not they're real, what they even are, and how you can kind of protect yourself from them if they are. I'm a professional psychic. I've coached before. I have many students, and I've done animal communication. I'm also a medium. So I've had several years of kind of understanding how this works. So let's first talk about what the heck a psychic attack is. So when a lot of people come to me, usually they're kind of newer, or maybe not, maybe they're kind of have been around for a while, maybe you've seen a psychic or two, and they tell me that they are being psychically attacked or they're worried that they're being attacked. And usually when they say this, there's kind of this image about what a psychic attack is. And usually it's that a spirit or a person is kind of getting into their energy and attacking you, like energetically attacking you. So this could be that a spirit is following you around, not leaving you alone, maybe just like you're picking up a lot of things from it where it's just being mean or negative to you. Now, if it's a person, a lot of people believe that there could be another person out there that hates them, that wants ill will towards them. So this person is out there just thinking negative thoughts and it's like, ooh, screw them. I hope they have a car crash. I hope they, hurt themselves. I hope they don't get what they want. They kind of say, oh, they're attacking me with these thoughts. But at its core, it's that you're worried that someone or something is getting into your energy and taking advantage of you and being negative towards you. And I think the description here is that these people, these entities, could either be knowingly or unknowingly doing it. So if they are unknowingly doing it, maybe it's just that they're kind of like, oh, screw that person, I don't like them. They're just kind of just sending general bad vibes out, not necessarily to you or wishing anything bad. And then there's the other end of it where they're trying to be mean or be bad or send you bad things your way. Now, I will say more often than not, I think it's not happening. I would say more often than not, you're more worried about them than they are you, but that is definitely not always the case. I do think there are some bad people out there that will go out of their way to do this and send bad intentions to other people. Again, I think that's a very small percentage, but if it's happening, we're going to talk about it. I just want to mention here as well, I've also heard someone describing psychic attacks as when they are reading, them as the psychic are reading somebody else that didn't ask for that reading. And they call that a psychic attack. And I thought that was an interesting use of the word, and it's not wrong. I've just very rarely heard that being used. So somebody might also be talking about it in that sense of the word of oh, I psychically attacked somebody by not getting their permission before I read them. And attack is the word that I have the problem with. And we'll get to that in a second. But obviously, we're not going to talk much about that end of it. We're just going to be talking about if it's happening to you. But obviously, psychics out there, don't do that. Don't read people without their permission. There's ways you can kind of get around it without getting into their energy, which is just kind of asking your guides, all sorts of stuff. But don't do that. It's unethical. Anybody that kind of starts reading another person's life intimately without their permission, that's kind of, again, breaking those ethical boundaries. You want to be more concerned about what this person in front of you is experiencing and not that third party. So are psychic attacks real? Yes, but I don't like the word. I don't like the word, and here is why. Attack implies that you are being snuck up on, that you don't have control, that somebody's waiting in the bushes and they're gonna get you, and you have no boundaries, you have no protection, you have no way of defending yourself. You're being attacked. And really what I think this is it's a fear tactic. I don't like how the word psychic attack inspires fear. And that's usually what happens is half the people that come to me, they were telling me that another psychic told me that I was getting psychically attacked, and they're afraid, and they start to have all these negative experiences starting to happen because they think that all these negative experiences are happening. But in reality, they're sort of inviting it in because they're afraid, and that fear will allow more negative spirits, more negative energy to just hang around you. And there is even a psychic development group that I found online that it makes my blood boil because they use this. They take advantage of this and they say, oh, sign up for our courses so you don't get psychically attacked. And they use your fear and they use the idea of you don't have control until you come buy my stuff. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are like, well, Lauren, you're kind of doing the same. I try not to come at it from a fear perspective. I try to come from it of like, hey, you want to learn your psychic abilities? You want to empower yourself? Awesome. Here's the tools that you need. But it often is used as a buzzword, psychic attacks. And again, it makes people afraid. It implies that you don't have control, that you can't protect yourself. And it really implies that preventative measures can't be taken. Like there's nothing you can do about it. And that's what I don't necessarily like about it. Now, I will say there are probably people out there that use the word psychic attack and they explain it and they make sure that none of this comes across as like fear. Awesome for you on doing that. Like those aren't the people I'm talking about. Really, I'm talking about the people out there that talk about psychic attacks in this way. When you are learning to protect yourself, if there's any ounce of fear there, it is so much harder to protect yourself. And I know this from experience. So I think it's so important to give people empowering messages and uplift them. Like really what I would call this instead is just kind of like an energy drain, or maybe somebody's kind of like sucking your energy. But I could also say you are allowing people to suck your energy. I know that word energy drain doesn't necessarily describe everything that could be happening, but it's a lot less scary than psychic attack. And again, that doesn't mean that it can't happen. Again, I think that these things absolutely happen. There are people out there that do this to other people. There are spirits that do this to people in its vicinity. Like think about it as if, you know, this person is a child, the person who thinks that they're getting psychically attacked. This child comes up to you and says, Mom, I'm so scared that this might happen at school. And then you respond with, well, yeah, and this could also happen and this could happen and you could not have any control. And then they're going to do this to you. And like, I know that's not a very good example, but like, think about how we empower people to feel more in control and feel like they can protect themselves. We don't do that from a place of fear. You give them courage, you give them hope, you give them self-empowerment, you give them the things that they can control. Remind them of that and not everything else that's negative that's happening to them. I don't like how fear-inducing the word is. So I try not to use these buzzwords on my channel, but that doesn't mean I won't give you the tools on how to handle it. So what can we do about this? Let's talk about spirits first, because I feel like that's kind of a smaller portion of psychic attacks. Most people are worried about other people, but I would say that a psychic attack or an energy drain by a spirit, really how you can handle this is just about learning about boundaries. Really, if there is a negative energy around you, it is kind of your fault. Like, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm here to support, I'm here to help. But in a way, you are inviting and allowing that spirit to be there. Maybe you didn't invite it in, but you definitely are allowing it to stay there, which is the issue. And this is also just educating yourself and understanding how spirits do and don't work. I feel like when these people call me and, you know, they're concerned about a spirit, I feel like half the time I'm just educating them. No, spirits can't do that to you. They can't control your space. They can't take over your body. And I kind of say, hey, where did you get those images from? Was it from a movie? You know, you have priority over this physical space. And so if you feel like a spirit can come in and bother you, you're kind of making that a little loophole. You're making that so that that spirit is able to come in. You're kind of in a way saying, oh, you are allowed to be here because I feel like I can't kick you out anyway. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the guest at parties analogy that I use with boundaries. And if you don't tell those people to leave or, you know, say, hey, I don't like you here, they're going to stay. And I have a video on that more specific to spirits. And if you're wanting to go further on how to get rid of that spirit, so check that out above. But again, I want to stick mostly to when you believe that you feel like another person is psychically attacking you. So what you can do if you feel like you're being attacked or drained by somebody else that is like living. Number one, I will tell you, like, nothing you say or do will make them stop. So just get that off the table. You know, you can't control other people or what they do or don't do. So the biggest thing, obviously, is to not engage. But I do find that a lot of people have a hard time understanding this, because if you are engaging with them, even if it's just like social media or even just like passive aggressive, like post that's not nearly about that, not really about them, but it kind of is, you know? Like that in a way is saying, I'm thinking about you, I'm inviting your energy in, and so I'm gonna let your energy come sit in mine. It's just the basic principle of like, if you are concerned about somebody, if you're talking about them, if you're obsessed about them, if they're constantly on your mind, in a way, you are allowing their energy in your field. You might have been inviting it in. Actually, you are inviting it in by doing that because you're constantly just so obsessed with the situation, what happened. I know this is tough love, but this is what's happening. And I find it very common for a lot of people that they think it's about this other person doing the harm to them, but in reality, it's victim mentality. You're inviting in their energy because you want to feel sorry for yourself. You want the attention of, oh gosh, you know, what did this person do to me? And like, I'm a culprit of this myself. I am not perfect. Everyone has this. And it's the epitome of holding a grudge. When you hold a grudge, you hold on to their energy. And so really, you know, I'm again picturing a certain group of people of when this happens. This is not everybody. But usually the person has intense paranoia about this other person. And more oftentimes than not, when I tune into that other person, they've never thought about that person a day since they last saw them. Again, not the case every time. There are some people who are just like intense and obsessed with you and, you know, screwing up your life, and you might have the best intentions possible. But I do say to start here, ask yourself, like, why is this happening? Why am I allowing this energy to be here? Why are you constantly ruminating on them and thinking about them? To me, that really shows that there needs to be some closure. You might need to forgive them, forgive yourself. Like, even if you can't talk to them in person, writing them a letter so that you feel like you can really let this situation go. Maybe you just need a ton of space from them. But in a way, if you are constantly thinking about them and in that paranoid state, we're getting into grudge and forgiveness territory, and it might not necessarily be about them doing anything to you at all. I mean, really, you're kind of inviting them in just like you would a negative spirit. You have control over your thoughts and who is in your circle. Like, obviously, if they're knocking at your door and like physically not leaving you alone, that's a whole nother matter. However, I find that this really is some inner work that we need to do. It's about facing the emotions that are there, facing the shame that you might have on your end. You know, when people are so obsessed with somebody else, I really see that as, what is it in you that you're trying to hide from? You know, maybe there was something bad that happened. I feel like this video is turning more into like guidance and like a little bit like more of like counseling on how to deal with relationships, which I didn't expect it to be. But I think when we talk about psychic attacks, we're so obsessed with other people sometimes and what we said or did or didn't happen. And again, I am just easily a culprit of this, but now I understand it a little bit more. So I know how to go through these steps of, okay, this energy is here. Maybe it doesn't have to do completely 100% with them. Maybe there's something on my end that I need to forgive, I need to deal with so that I can keep their energy out of my space. And this could be even just like, if somebody flipped you off in the car, like you might not even know them, it was 5 seconds, and you're still holding onto that energy by constantly going over that scenario, and you're replaying that in your head as, oh, I'm the victim and I would have said this and I would have said that. But maybe you did something wrong. Maybe you did like honk at them or totally cut them off. And in that case, I would say, you know, hey, deal with the emotions of it. And forgiving yourself, which could be as simple as, you know what, I did cut them off. And if I were to see them again, I would say, sorry, that was my bad, definitely. But that doesn't mean you have to like forgive them for what they did, or that has to be like, you're totally okay with what they did. You know, maybe they got out of their car and like slapped your car. I don't know. Somebody slaps your car, that's weird. But really, it's just about examining where that hurt is coming from, because a lot of the times you are keeping their energy there because you are not facing your emotions. Tough truth, tough love, but I gotta say it. And I think this is unfortunately why some people use psychic attacks as an excuse to not deal with their own inner shame, inner judgment, inner anxiety, grumpiness, whatever it is towards other people. And the reason why I give this, again, you might feel like, I've already done that, Lauren. We're good, awesome. You've done that work. and you just feel like this weird feeling of like maybe they're still around, like I keep having weird things happening. And that's kind of what we're going to get into next. Just like spirits, you can get rid of this energy, whether it's through intention, just kind of saying things out loud to yourself, writing it down, or if you want to do a little bit more ritual things to kind of really feel like you block that energy. So what I would say, whether it's a spirit or a person, no matter either of those circumstances, the first question is always to ask, why is this happening? And again, that's kind of why I went on the tangent of maybe it's your own stuff, but if it's not, if you kind of work through that, then we can start to ask, okay, why else would this spirit be following me around? Or why else would this person be throwing negative stuff towards me? That way we're addressing the cause and not just the symptom. And a perfect example of this is my video where I went to a client's house and she was having some negative energy happening and she invited me over to kind of cleanse the house. And I pulled some tarot cards and we asked, why is this spirit here? Why, we're not just trying to get rid of the spirit, we're trying to understand why this person in this house is suddenly more sensitive to it. Why are these spirits showing up more for some reason? And I can't remember exactly why, but we addressed it in that video and I'll link it up above. But it was good to know because, hey, we're addressing the why. So when we go into that meditation later and speak to them, or just if we were speaking to them in general and asking them to leave that space, we can address that why. Maybe, I feel like it was something about like the boy needing approval from dad, or I don't know, but they needed something. And we basically gave that to them, we listened to them, and then it was a lot easier to ask them to leave. And so I would encourage you to intuitively ask this question, why is this happening? You can pull some cards on it, feel like you're enlightened. You probably might know why it's happening, but you can ask, why am I still hung up on it? Why am I feeling it? Thinking about all these different ways you can ask, because maybe it's just that you're more sensitive. Maybe they're not actually doing very much different. It's just that you need to put up more of a bubble. Maybe your boundaries have been bad lately. Or maybe it's because you saw them one time recently, or maybe you saw them in a dream and now you're just questioning it and you're kind of inviting that energy back in. So that is a great question to always start with, because then again, addressing the cause and not just the symptom where you're just like, get out, get out, get out, and then they just keep coming back. You can also ask how to make it stop. Like, how can I make this not so much on my mind or not feel this anymore? You can also ask, pull a card for this, how am I contributing to this situation? How am I keeping this energy here? Because I do think that there might just be a small piece of you that, maybe you're not realizing that needs to like let go. And I will just throw an example in here really quick. Like, I had a friend that I kind of cut ties with. And I did a lot of work around it. I did a lot of journaling. I did a lot of tarot cards, just kind of being like, why was this relationship here? What did it serve? Like, why did it end this way? Could I not have made it better? And then I felt like I did the work. Like, I had done even like a cord cutting meditation to really be like, all right, my energy's done, your energy's with you. But I still felt like there was some stuff coming in. And I would tune into it and I would be like, I feel like they're just thinking about me, or every now and then they might have a grumpy thought towards me and it's like a screw you, and I could feel it, which was interesting. But I did that check. I knew that there was some things that I still needed to let go of. I kind of needed to go through another process of forgiveness. But it happened in like stages, and just point being, that can absolutely happen. You can be tuning into their stuff even after you've done the work, and it might just be that you have new stuff that you need to do around that situation. And I will say here too, a lot of psychics, and I think I am definitely a culprit of this as well, like we talk about going through these emotions and dealing with this kind of stuff. And I always neglect to say, like, if you need to see somebody, a professional, a psychiatrist, a therapist, to work through this kind of stuff, like if it is too heavy to go into, don't do it on your own. Don't get into a spot where you're really uncomfortable, where you might need help. So don't ever feel like if any of this is too much that you have to do it alone. There are people with resources, with tools out there that can help you. I definitely don't think that psychics are always well equipped, because counseling is very different than the intuitive information, as I talk about a lot. So again, I I've failed to mention that, and I'm going to try to mention that a little bit more in future videos. More physical things that you can do to protect yourself. You can put crystals around your house. I really like black tourmaline for getting rid of negative energy. You could dive down a deep well of all the different crystals out there that would help. You can put it around the four corners of your room. You can carry it on you, like in your purse. I always have crystals in my purse. You can ask your guides for protection. You can also put up pictures or statues of those guides around your house in like all of those spaces. Put it as like a background on your phone to make you feel like you're more protected. Really, you can just find a protection meditation or just, listen to some music and really take the time to protect yourself and feel like you are cleaning your aura. Like even if you're imagining like getting a sponge and like cleaning out your aura and you're saying, no, nothing here but my energy. You could also do this, I call this like setting your bubble, and this is like your energetic bubble and making sure that that bubble is pretty like firm. So just making sure your bubble is, not having like any holes in it. Like, are you allowing things in? Are you not protecting yourself as much? Like, do it 3 times a day when you wake up, maybe halfway through the day and then right before you go to bed. I can't remember, I want to say Archangel Michael gave me this idea, but you can literally imagine a brick wall and just wherever that person's energy is, I don't know where they literally are right now, but if I just feel like they're over there, I'm going to say brick wall. And every time I think of that person or I feel like anything might be coming from them, brick wall, brick wall, brick wall, their energy can't come through. I'm very specifically setting a brick wall just for them. A lot of people also like to wear protective symbols, like the evil eye is a very common one. And really it's all about just trying to make sure that anytime you start thinking about them again, you really try to stop yourself. Now, again, this is kind of a gray area because if you're thinking about them to kind of work through stuff, that's a lot different than like, oh, I'm thinking about them because I want to send some bad intentions or bad thoughts their way. Kind of keep yourself from doing that because, again, it invites in their energy. And if you're still having a hard time, again, this is going more into journaling. Why am I having a hard time letting this go? Doing forgiveness meditations, sending them love and light. As hard as it can be, the more resistance you have to it, the more it probably needs to be done. I always struggle because I don't want to encourage anything that is going to hurt your guys' mental health, and I'm becoming more and more aware of that as I make videos, so obviously within your comfort zone. A very popular one is also to smudge your space. Apparently we don't use white sage anymore because that is sacred to indigenous people, but there are like hundreds of other types of sage out there, so just trying to make sure you're not getting white sage, and you can spray this all around your home anytime you need to. You can literally spray it around yourself. And I'm saying spray because I use spray all the time because my animals and my son and my husband don't like the smoke. So I have a little spray sage bottle, but you can also get like sage bundles or pieces of sage and kind of, do it all over. Now with anything that you do here, remember that it's all about your intention and your belief. You have to set the intention that you are not letting in their energy, and at the same time, you have to believe it's gonna work. You have to believe it's gonna work. That's what I say all the time with spirits, because if you don't believe, if you're like, don't come into my house, like question mark, and you kind of are like, as you're saying it, you're like, I know they're gonna come back because I suck at this. Then they see that as a loophole, they invite themselves back in. Same thing with other people's energy. Now I will say, as a person, as a Scorpio moon, I hold grudges big time. And I used to be way worse at this, like coming out of high school into college. I would hold grudges for a long time, but I'm thankful for this spiritual work and all of the practices and people out there for teaching me how to manage this and manage my emotions better. So the only reason I mention this is it might take time. It might take understanding how your emotions work, how to go through forgiveness. Like it's a tough thing. You're not just gonna come out of it like one night like that and just be like, I forgive everyone all the time. No, it's not gonna happen. So psychics out there, if you are watching this, I would encourage you to make sure that you're not using the word psychic attacks for the reasons that I've stated in this video. We want to teach people, we want to empower them, we don't want them to be afraid. And I think this is where people feel like psychics take advantage because they say these buzzy words and they make you feel like you can't do something without them, and that's where we kind of get this overarching view of psychics as like scammers. And so if we really want to be taken more seriously, we have to be aware of the types of verbiage that we use. Teaching people that at the end of the day, They have ultimate control over their emotions, over their physical space. That's what we want to be teaching people. We can teach them that every situation is neutral and how you respond to it is your choice. You know, something, you know, a ball could fly my way, hit me in the head. I could decide, haha, that's funny, hilarious, or I could decide, oh my God, I'm gonna kill that person. You know what I mean? So like every situation is neutral. And I know it's a challenge for some people to imagine not reacting negatively to other people doing something negative, but it is an active choice to make. And this is, again, that victim mentality that we want to make people be aware of when it comes to psychic attacks, because psychic attacks is just furthering that story of you are a victim. But most of the time, it's that person letting somebody else's energy affect them, spirit or person. So this is not a them issue, this is a boundary issue within yourself. So if you're watching this video and you feel like this is happening to you, remember you have control. You have the ability to set your own boundaries. You have control over your space, your mental health. You know, if you're saying, oh no, I don't, they're coming into my space, my energy. That's a you problem. You're letting them come in. If anyone is out there telling you that you cannot protect yourself, like that is a huge red flag. There are a lot of people out there saying, oh, you can't protect yourself. This is just gonna happen. It sucks. The only way you can protect yourself is by seeing me or buying this little thing over here. No. You have the full control. You can do that with your intention and your belief only. So yes, psychic attacks are real. I don't like the word. You know why. Let's call it energy drain. Let's make sure as psychics we're not furthering this buzzword and making people afraid, that we're empowering them. We're giving them the tools and resources to help. And you are absolutely allowed to disagree with me. This is just my belief over many, many years of doing readings and realizing that it's more important to empower people, to make them feel like they can have control over their boundaries, and that words really can scare a ton of people to the point that they come to me and they're like, I don't have control. And I've got to basically give them this pep talk. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you've ever felt like you've been psychically attacked, if you think you are now, and how you think you can handle it. How can you handle it yourself? Take one of the exercises from this video, start doing it today. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And remember, I also have my Patreon available now. So if you want to have additional content, early access to these videos, if you want to ask me questions, we have coaching Q&As every month, lots of additional readings too. So join, sign up. I'd love to have you over there. And thanks so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.